This all started, though, on Wednesday morning when police say Robinson walked onto the Utah Valley University campus. 31 minutes later, he's accused of shooting Kirk in the neck from a rooftop 200 yards away. 2 hours after that shooting, Charlie Kirk died. 33 hours after the initial shooting, police arrested Robinson. This is the suspect, Tyler Robinson, a young man just 22 years old. Authorities say he lived in Washington with his family down in southern Utah before moving to an apartment with a friend in St. George. He's accused of aggravated murder, discharge of a firearm, and obstruction of justice.
September 10th, 2025. Orem, Utah. It's just past noon on a Wednesday. The sun is high. The campus of Utah Valley University is packed. Over 3,000 people have gathered in an outdoor courtyard to hear Charlie Kirk speak. Kirk is 31 years old. He is one of the most recognizable conservative voices in America. He's the founder of Turning Point USA, a fierce supporter of Donald Trump, a devout Christian who speaks openly about his faith everywhere he goes. He has appeared on college campuses hundreds of times. This is exactly where he feels most alive, arguing, engaging, challenging. He's handing out red hats to the crowd. He's smiling, laughing. Nobody in that courtyard knows that a 22-year-old man named Tyler Robinson arrived on campus 8 minutes ago, that he has already climbed through stairwells, that he is already on a rooftop, that he has a Mauser bolt-action rifle pointed directly at the stage. Within the next 20 minutes, Charlie Kirk will be dead, and America will ask itself a question it still hasn't fully answered. How did nobody see this coming? To understand what happened that day, you need to understand who Charlie Kirk was and why, to some people, he represented something worth hating. Kirk was born in 1993 in the suburbs of Chicago. He skipped college, a choice that, looking back, feels almost ironic, and instead launched Turning Point USA in 2012 at just 18 years old. The organization's mission was simple: bring conservative politics directly onto college campuses, the places where Kirk believed young people were being pulled to the left. It worked. TPUSA grew into a national force. Kirk became a polarizing figure, beloved by millions of young conservatives, despised by many on the left. He spoke openly about his Christian faith. He criticized transgender ideology. He made provocative statements on race, gender, and immigration that earned him headlines, both positive and furious. By 2025, he was one of the most followed political commentators in America. He had the ear of the president, and he kept going back to college campuses. On September 10th, he was kicking off what he called his American Comeback Tour, a national series of university appearances designed to engage directly with students. The first stop was Utah Valley University in Orem, roughly 40 miles south of Salt Lake City. Event planners expected 600 people. What they got was 3,000. 6 campus police officers were assigned to the event. There were no bag checks, no metal detectors, no drone monitoring the rooftops. Tyler Robinson woke up that morning in Washington County, a small, predominantly conservative community in southern Utah, 3 hours from Orem by car. He is 22 years old. He grew up in a Republican family. His parents are staunchly conservative. He attended Pine View High School, then briefly enrolled at Utah State University, studying engineering before dropping out. At the time of the shooting, he was a third-year student in an electrical apprenticeship program at Dixie Technical College. By most accounts, Robinson had become increasingly political in recent years. A family member later told authorities he had become, in their words, full of hate. But that morning, nothing seemed unusual. At 11:07 a.m., Robinson was playing Wordle on his phone. He guessed the answer in 3 tries. The word was pouty. He sent his results to a friend with a celebratory meme. His friend sent one back. He had already been driving for 3 hours. The rifle, a Mauser Model 98 .30-06 caliber bolt action with a scope, a gift from his grandfather, was in the car. At 11:52 a.m., surveillance footage captured Robinson arriving on campus. He was dressed to blend in. Authorities later said he looked like any other college-age man in the crowd. He made his way to the Losi Center, one of the buildings surrounding the courtyard. He took the stairs. He crossed the roof. He positioned himself approximately 175 yards from the stage. Kirk began speaking at around 12:03 p.m. At 12:23 p.m., Kirk was answering a student's question, a question investigators later noted with grim irony about mass shootings in the United States. A single shot rang out. The bullet struck Kirk in the neck. He collapsed. In the chaos that followed, Robinson set the rifle down in a wooded area near campus and fled into the surrounding neighborhood, disappearing before a single officer could locate him. More than 3,000 people were screaming, running, sheltering in place. Emergency medical personnel, who were never even requested in the event planning documents, were not on site. The FBI's Salt Lake City division took the lead. Investigators traced the shooter's path through the stairwells of the Losi Center, across the roof, to the precise vantage point where forensic evidence was recovered. They found a forearm imprint, a palm print, shoe impressions pressed into the surface of a roof. The rifle was located in a nearby wooded area. The FBI released footage of the shooter the following day, a young man, college-aged, moving calmly through the crowd before the shooting. Two men were brought in for questioning. George Zinn and Zachariah Qureshi. Both were questioned. Both were released. Neither had any connection to the shooting. But Zinn had done something strange. At the moment Kirk was shot, he reportedly shouted, "I shot him, now shoot me," apparently to create confusion and help the real shooter escape. Investigators later discovered child sexual abuse material on Zinn's phone. He is facing separate charges. The actual shooter was still out there. And then the FBI got an unexpected break, not from forensics, but from family. Robinson's father saw the surveillance footage on news. He recognized his son. He compared the rifle in the footage to a rifle he knew his son owned, the grandfather's gift. He called Robinson and asked him to send a photo of the rifle. Robinson didn't respond. Robinson had already told someone close to him that he planned to take his own life. His parents convinced him to come home. On the evening of September 11th, less than 36 hours after the assassination, Tyler James Robinson turned himself in through a family friend in Washington County. The question that gripped the nation was not who, it was why. Charging documents began to paint a picture. Prosecutors cited text messages Robinson allegedly sent to his roommate, described in the documents as a transgender-identifying individual he was in a close relationship with. In those messages, Robinson allegedly stated that he killed Kirk because he had had enough of his hatred. Prosecutors argued Robinson had targeted Kirk specifically because of Kirk's political expression, particularly his outspoken criticism of transgender ideology. Robinson had not voted in either of the two most recent general elections. He had no party affiliation. His family, by contrast, was described as staunchly Republican. The picture that emerged was of a young man radicalized quietly, not through any formal organization, not through any manifesto, but through a slow build of personal anger and ideological grievance, made deeply personal by a relationship that made Kirk's rhetoric feel like a direct attack on someone he cared about. On September 16th, Robinson was formally charged with aggravated murder, a capital felony, felony discharge of a firearm, 2 counts of obstruction of justice, 2 counts of witness tampering, and commission of a violent offense in the presence of a child. Prosecutors announced their intent to seek the death penalty. The victim targeting enhancement attached to the murder charge was significant. Robinson had allegedly selected Charlie Kirk specifically because of his political views. In the eyes of the law, this was not random violence. This was targeted political assassination. In the weeks that followed, a separate but equally disturbing story emerged. The story of how this was allowed to happen. An Associated Press investigation found that Utah Valley University lacked multiple standard security measures common at high-profile public events. The outdoor courtyard was surrounded by tall buildings on multiple sides, any one of which offered a clear line of sight to the stage. Campus police did not fly a drone to monitor rooftops. They did not coordinate with local law enforcement to secure surrounding buildings. EMS was never requested. 6 officers were assigned to an event that drew 5 times the expected attendance. Robinson arrived at 11:52. He was on the roof, in position, undetected. He fired. He escaped. The entire operation took roughly 35 minutes. Not a single camera, officer, or protocol caught him before the shot was fired. The university later announced it would hire 8 additional police officers. For Charlie Kirk, and for the 3,000 people who watch him die, that came too late. Tyler James Robinson is currently held without bail. He has not entered a formal plea. Federal charges remain possible. The death penalty is being pursued. His trial date has not been set. Charlie Kirk was 31 years old. He is survived by his wife, Erica, and their children. In the days after his death, Erica Kirk vowed publicly that the movement would continue. Turning Point USA renamed the tour in his honor and announced a new lineup of speakers to carry on his college campus mission. At vigils across Utah, students gathered. They prayed. They wept. What remains, beyond the grief and the political firestorm, is a question that has no comfortable answer. A young man drove 3 hours, climbed a rooftop, and killed a public figure in front of thousands of people in broad daylight on a college campus. And for 35 minutes, nobody stopped him. Not because it couldn't have been stopped, because nobody thought it would happen here.